Call the meeting to order, pledge of allegiance. Robert? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with justice for all. Attendance, everybody's here. Township board meeting minutes, regular meeting minutes from June 11th. Corrections, suggestions, errors, make a motion from regular board minutes of June 12th. As presented. Is there a second? Well, that'd be nice, thank you. No discussion, any, none heard, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. Minutes of the closed session board meeting on June 13th, June 12th, 2024.
I do have them here if anybody wants to look them over one last time. I know you guys looked at them in the room as well.
We did, we're just, well, I guess you'd call them finalizing, approving, so, motion by somebody?
I'll make that motion, yes.
Second by anyone?
I'll support.
Thanks very much. Any discussion on that? None being heard, all in favor, say aye. Opposed, that's carried. I want to amend the agenda and add there, it should be unfinished business, but the county recycle proposed location. We put it under unfinished business, so essentially we're talking. That's all I have for that. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to add? No, none. Public comment. Going.
I would just like to ask why the lawsuit was added on under old business in the agenda.
Okay. Anybody else?
Anybody attending remotely want to make a comment?
Going? Nobody? Gone.
Is that Bernard thing on the attendance, I mean, not on the agenda?
There's a new proposed road end ordinance within the agenda. Still be considering it tonight, I would imagine.
Okay,
Okay, I'm sorry, what's your question?
I was wondering if the road end, I've walked it a couple
Oh,
of weeks.
okay.
If that road end ordinance was gonna be on.
Yes, it is. It's on
Can I
the
get your
agenda.
name, please?
Barbara Anderson.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Going. Okay, financial reports. Amber?
They're all there in you guys' packet. Anybody got any questions?
What's the trial fund balance? And what's the difference between the financial report and the treasury?
Well, Armin, the clerk is responsible for the financial statements, so that's why that shows up with the financial reports. And that's why she was gonna answer the questions. Trial balance is an accounting report that we typically have when you're reviewing financial statements.
You want to add anything, Amber? No, it's on.
No,
that's
they're there in
fine.
the packet if you guys have any questions.
And you got anything you want to add?
So just that the summer tax collection has begun, bills are mailed out and are payable now. In case anybody is interested, we've transitioned to the cloud version of BSNA. And, still a little bit of growing pains with that, but overall, I think it's gonna be a good upgrade. And support is pretty good on that as well. I had the financial audit on June 13th and 14th, and finalizing that, we haven't gotten any report.
Okay,
That's all I have.
that's it? Okay. Clerk's report.
You kind of follow with the audit
Same
being
thing.
finished, yeah, updated cloud. The other thing is with elections, we've been working on sending ballots out and I also have another clerk's training on July 23rd.
Okay. We have you back on the treasury report. You want to say anything else now after deadline? No, you're not.
Which is your next one.
Okay, county commissioners, Jeff? Jeff was not here today. He actually called me and told me about that. Okay, new business. So everyone should have gotten a copy of the new road and ordinance in your packet. So we wanna, Vic, this was the one Vic had worked on, we worked on renaming the few road ends that had the, different designations, Vic, is that correct?
Pretty much just the numbering.
Numbering.
It was 313s, so we made A, B, and C. The whole purpose of the activity was to get the road end ordinance to match up with the recreation map. And there was a couple of missing numbers, and then there was the 313, which didn't make sense. We could have changed the numbers on all of them, but it would have been a little bit more arduous, so we just put an A, B, and C behind it.
Did you really know? We're speaking of Missouri, there are 13A, 13B, 13C. They're essentially the same public accesses. They just have a different number on them. The two that have docks are, I think they should say no.
Outlet Avenue.
Oh, that,
Maybe somebody point out over on the recreation map.
excuse me, I'm in the middle of the meeting, Armin.
Well, just so people can follow along and know where we are in
I'm trying to explain the numbering system is all. I'm not changing the public access, but I appreciate them. So Outlet Avenue, as you can see, it says public access with non-exclusive private dock. Arborvitae says the same thing, public access, non-exclusive private dock. So that hasn't changed. That was I think it's the same wording as the one that's in existence as of today, right? I can say that. So that is the change in the ordinance, just the numbering on those roads.
And there's some cleanup. language.
Yeah, go ahead. You want to hit on that?
Sure, so. The section here under docks recognizes that Outlet Avenue and Arborvitae, that there's two non-exclusive private docks that are permitted under this ordinance. They put in a length restriction, 100 feet, which accommodates the dock as they're currently built. It addresses the T because, that wasn't addressed in the previous ordinance. Let's see. It added section G and H, or clarified those, that these private docks may be ordered to be removed by resolution of township board at the board's discretion. In the event either dock is not removed voluntarily, then the township may enforce removal. It adds section H that says no additional non-exclusive private docks beyond the permitted outlet and arborvitae shall be permitted. However, the township is able to put out private docks at their expense if they want to, on other road ends for the public use. And it, references some court cases, and that was suggested by the attorney. I believe that, under section A, there was some clarification on the observation area. It was just, adding, basically a period and making this last thing a sentence. So basically it says, for all other road ends for which permissible use is described as observation area, pedestrian access is discouraged because direct access may be detrimental to the environment or dangerous to pedestrians. These areas will generally be maintained in a natural state. I think the previous language said, this says is discouraged, and I think the other said is not prohibited. So just making it clear that it's really not probably the best to be accessing from those particular areas. And then I believe the attorney cleaned up the enforcement language to make sure it was consistent and enforceable.
That is it. So it effectively doesn't really change the ordinance itself, other than some, just over, so. And a numbering system on the dock, and I think it's been they've been back and forth on this for, I don't know, a long time.
It wasn't so much the ordinance we were looking.
No, just the number.
Recreation map and trying to get them to match up, because the prior recreation map had no C report, but there was no report attached, so we wanted to have every one of them either identified on the map itself or on the road end ordinance, and they now are all identified in one of those two.
So was that part of what contributed to some of the name changes?
Yeah, because they had to get added in, and so the numbering had to change.
Well, some of them I thought weren't added in. I thought some of just the name changed. When I tried comparing. I could be wrong.
Do you recall which
Could be right.
one? Because I think the one that I recall was split and, is it Portage?
Portage.
And there was some, through the last several reviews of this, there was some confusion about the two. I found the notes from 2013, et cetera. What we finally determined though was that Portage is actually not a road end. It is a road that runs lengthwise along the shore.
Okay,
So.
So that's why number 15 is missing, because that was taken out.
Okay. yeah, and I did notice, like you said, other ones added. So are we okay? Can I ask you a couple questions?
Yes.
Okay. So with section 4B, now rather than just width, we have length mentioned. Do we know that the current non-exclusive docks will fall within that?
Yeah.
So it's not like by putting that number. in
No, no.
380. Okay.
No, I went out and looked
Okay.
to make sure that we had enough to accommodate the docks.
This
That's
one's a
true.
question.
Does that say 100 feet from the water's edge?
No, but I would think you'd measure it from that. I mean, technically, yeah, it starts at the water's edge. You mean if it overlapped the land?
Well, our,
Yeah, I would say
the Outlet Avenue one has probably got 20 feet.
on sand.
I'm saying before.
It's not a dock if it's on sand.
I wouldn't call it dock. I would think, well, no, we would measure from the edge of the water. And it was just put in there, so there was something, so we didn't have somebody putting a 300-foot.
Correct.
That's all. So that was the
Okay.
reason. And the other one, I think, was under 100 feet, if I'm not mistaken.
Didn't specify the length, it just had the width.
No, I mean, the
Oh,
other
yeah, the
dock, the other dock is under 100 feet. And I conferred with Jim first, that's why we called it.
Outlet Avenue is under 100 feet. In full.
And it's lower water this year.
Right.
Cindy?
Well, the only other, I mean, I know what the intent is, but it's a picky thing. Section 5B. It says, other than the two non-exclusive private docks placed at the end of outlet and arborvitae. And when I first read that, I felt it could be interpreted that there could be two non-exclusive docks at each of those. Rather than just saying, other than the non-exclusive dock at and at. Just throwing the number 2 in there, I think, made it more unclear than clear. Just an opinion.
Other than the two docks, just the docks placed at the end of Outlet Avenue, right? Interpreting it.
I can see how that would be interpreted that way. And actually, when I read it earlier, now that kind of,
Did that stick in your mind?
a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's not a huge deal, but I
Sure.
think that way, if you take out the number, then there's no misinterpretation that there can be two there.
Right.
But if everybody else is good with it and I'm a lone soldier, I can also live with that.
I don't care either way. I mean, Tom reviewed it, but I don't think it makes a difference either way.
Amber, what do you want to do? Yes or no, stay or go?
Yeah. Well, then we can build.
Bob?
Ready to go and change it.
No, like, what about this two thing? You want it in or out? That answer, Cindy wants it out.
If for Sam Lee, was we should either reword or take it up.
Okay, take it, I don't take it. We just cross it off the,
We can read them.
printed. Okay. Let's see the very bottom, let's see. Any more questions from board members? What resolution number would this be?
That ordinance.
I don't know. Should have them. Very bottom.
Looking for the.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, 1 point, so.
Isn't that an ordinance, not a resolution?
It is an ordinance.
You said resolution.
Being numbered. Very bottom of the last page. I'll do that. Over here.
The resolution is. Solution of order.
Ordinance.
I don't think there's been any busts this year, I just looked.
Probably haven't done an ordinance.
Shelley, I'm gonna go in and you guys pass any ordinances here? Let's see, 2024-01.
No, probably not.
I don't think.
Yeah, cause I just looked and there hasn't been anything for 2022.
Okay, so it'd be ordinance number 20.
2024-01.
One, okay. Would someone make a motion? To adopt this new road and ordinance?
I'll make a motion to adopt the ordinance as presented with striking this two out of section 5B.
I'll say, yeah.
Second by Bob, okay. Out. Any other discussion? Okay, Cindy,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Amber,
Yes.
and
Yes.
yes, declare that pass.
Thank you.
Okay, unfinished business. Unfinished business.
While we're on the
Elections.
topic of.
Oh, yes, we should announce that this doesn't take effect for 30 days. So we're operating still under the old ordinance. Oh, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna mention
Repairs
that.
of the shore station on one of the non-explicit public. Comments to be taken.
Oh, I don't know. Good idea.
Yes, and maybe that ought to be looked at formally.
Okay, that's fine. And back to my other thing, this doesn't take effect for 30 days after, it has to be published, Amber, and that's correct, and it takes effect 30 days from now, so the other one's in effect. For 30 days, so. Cost recovery ordinance update. You want to say something?
No, I don't, we have to meet yet,
Yeah.
discuss it.
So
We,
the work session was canceled and from what I understood, there's a subcommittee.
Yes,
Who's on the
so,
subcommittee?
there's two fire and one board member.
is it another fire person?
No, we said that.
No, I thought it was just Rob and you.
Yeah.
So they work on that, and a little bit of that morning.
Basically, we decided to take a revamp it for third party. Yeah. I think, doesn't that pretty well cover it? Yeah.
Yes. Okay, I had the update on the Huck lawsuit, which yes, was just to say that we had gone to court and we signed a consent. The judge found in the township's favor, I would guess you'd say, and then we signed the consent, I guess you call it consent agreement to remove the fence. I don't, and it's still, I rely on Armin, because I don't remember, was it September of the date, maybe?
Now you're adjourning it.
Okay, never mind.
Hey,
Wait,
David,
you did skip the FOIA coordinator and website.
can we go back to the fire cost recovery ordinance?
Oh, geez, I did, yes.
So when the subcommittee gets done reviewing it and getting a draft together, before that comes back to us,
Yeah,
can it go to the attorney to make sure that
yes,
I's are dotted and T's are crossed, so whatever ordinance comes back to here, it's ready to be.
Yes.
Basically approved with.
thank you for bringing that, absolutely.
Thank you.
And I apologize, I went right by the FOIA coordinator, so, but go backwards, website access person update, all this other stuff, FOIA coordinator. So I'll remain as a FOIA coordinator until somebody else determines they'd like to do
We had a work session on it and I did provide the minutes there. They were just done up by Mandy today. So they were sent to you guys.
Um,
it from the work session.
yeah, just, I'd like to comment on the minutes a little bit. And, you know, I mean, I think Mandy, in all fairness to her, we were talking about everything and then she did the minutes afterwards. I mean,
Right.
she wasn't just like doing it. There's one comment where I said that FOIA thing was going fine with you, and I think that's not exactly what I said. It was more or less saying my understanding is it was working with you doing that.
It's fine.
Yeah, but that's not what I said, so I just wanted that clear. The only other thing that, I mean, if it is gonna be board members designing the draft description, drafting a job description and duties, so be it, but as I remember the discussion, what we were talking about. And actually, I think it was me primarily that mentioned it, is that it would be hard for me to approve a staff position when we were talking about office manager, unless I understood what the job description or the expectations of the duties were. So I thought you were gonna drive that, not me. But that's the only thing that I'm questioning in the minutes.
When we talked about it, it was kind of like an all of us coming up with something. Also, so you couldn't approve it. That's why Mandy and I are writing down every little thing we're doing right now. And I do have already the first 2 days, which is 4 pages. Right here as well.
Yeah.
So once that gets all done, then further. So that's why she put that in there.
I think the other thing we talked about too, is although it did say FOIA and website, we also talked about, and I think Ed, you and I at the meeting both mentioned it last time. We were talking about Bob and the things that he does, so I think we also said in general that we thought we needed to look at staffing in total. I mean, not just FOIA or not just a web person kind of thing, so that's the only other clarification, but so we had an initial discussion, but obviously until we have all of us having this, you know, a more thorough discussion.
Amber, how long you wanna do that for before you come up with something at hand, then you think a couple of weeks or 2 weeks period, why don't you tell me? We set a meeting up for board meeting, a work session for
Yeah, whenever.
3 weeks from now.
We can just see throw out dates, see what everybody can make and come up with something and I'll just keep doing it until then.
Would be fine.
I'll do it, just keep it around, see if there's something from other townships that will. we could Massage.
And you mentioned that you would do something with the website. We need to appoint, okay, we need to appoint her probably to be,
I don't
are you
think
think it's too soon?
no, I think it would be great to have some more eyes on the website and some more people that are trained in it. I don't think any one person is the website coordinator, because there's things that Amber's and
Gotta
office
do.
is still gonna have to do. There's things that as the treasurer that I'm gonna put on the website. There's things that Vic is doing as part of parks. I just think it'd be great if Cindy wants to learn, and then we got another person to be able to do that. And I know, Libby has pointed out some things that she'd like to see change. Some of those I think should be probably addressed, maybe not all of them. But I think it's getting people trained and then, kind of looking through and seeing what needs to be tweaked. So on the website, there's static information, which really doesn't change much and doesn't need to be looked at very often. And then the key things in my view are making sure the draft minutes are on as draft, making sure the final minutes that have been signed are on. The meeting calendars, any news updates, if it's an important thing like that. Those are the things that are day to day that just kind of have to happen. And then there's like the next tier of stuff. It's like, so when the annual lake report comes on, it needs to get put in the lake report section. Or if there's a water monitoring, and I have one of those I need to put on, that needs to get put out there. But those happen much less frequently than the, you know, the routine day-to-day meeting minutes and stuff like that. So there's different layers of this that could be looked at, and maybe managed differently.
Yeah, and I think part of what we were talking about when I said that I would help is there are things that need to be cleaned up. But you're saying it's either, you know, old information or things missing or something like that. So more trying to take care of those. Which I can do just kind of through it. You know, if there's anything
Do you
substantive.
think we still need a motion to give her that access?
I don't think it needs a motion. I think she must have access.
Right.
to the door.
Okay, consensus, fine?
Along with Cindy, deputy clerk should have that.
Well, no, they'll have access.
Yeah, we had a day set to train Mandy, but it didn't work out, so we just had to reschedule it. And I had sent her all the training materials like I sent to Cindy too. So I think it just needs to be done in person. It's just easier. That's how I did it with Bacon. It worked out pretty well.
I didn't even know Mandy had a date set, so.
She had scheduled it. So I was back, I think, when you guys had some election stuff that ended up being the conflict.
Okay,
Yeah, and Ed and I are working on, trying to figure out a date we can both get together too.
so as it is, then I'm still gonna be the coordinator for right now? Is that what you decided? Okay,
As long as you're good with it.
fine. I got one today, so. Anything else on this? Or is we move on? No? Okay.
David Wilson,
No, I did. I just said we,
not even second.
okay, so,
So the lawsuit was resolved in the township's favor, is that
yeah.
correct?
With the consent thing, I just don't know the date, but it said it had to be, moved on. Just don't remember. I don't have a copy of it, so. County recycle lot, we talked about this. I have went and got some bids. We don't have. I think we're gonna send some, the county had sent something for an agreement. But no one has it yet. We just need to send it out there. We're gonna talk about it. About what they wanna do on the lot. I don't think the language is,
Is that the first letter you're talking about?
you know,
Or the revised letter?
they only sent one. As far as I know, did they send two?
There's two attachments to that.
Oh, I mean, I'm sorry, two attachments, one letter.
None of those are comfortable.
None?
No.
No, I'm not either, but we'll send them around.
You didn't get them?
No,
For
because
what?
it hadn't come in front of everybody yet. They just sent it to Dave. And then
I was gonna say, I didn't see anything.
That's why we're gonna talk about, it. We're gonna send it out to everyone. We need to talk about it. I went and got some bids anyways. I won't mention the bids. Because we're not doing anything yet, but, yeah, I know.
They're copies for you guys.
That's just, yeah, I went
That were sent out.
solicited bids for the gravel work and see whatever, it's not as much as we thought, so. But we have to be comfortable with the language on what we're doing and spending money over there, and what kind of time frame we're protected for, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but this is what time and material, it doesn't tell me what it is.
What depends how much you wanna put, oh, you did, I'm sorry. 400 yards.
So,
There.
No, I'm sorry, he just gave you the price per yard, he didn't say how many yards, I
Yeah,
get.
because I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, okay, well, wonderful.
Well, here's what I haven't been decided. How big do you need to do over there? We only want is an area to get two of the semis, so you can put one semi in, disconnect it and hook on the other semi. And make a loop out of it, so the truck can just pull in and doesn't spend an inordinate amount of time trying to back into that parking lot over there across from that. So that's gonna depend on once it starts spreading, but I would tell you it's under 10,000. As a total, so. We'll send the other thing out, everybody get back to me before the meeting, because I think we need to have a discussion with the county. on the language in there. Do you agree?
I agree with that.
Okay, so we'll send it out. That's why it's not on the agenda today, so. Report, fire report.
I submitted it.
Okay, anything to add?
Nope.
Do you want that estimate? This,
Yeah, that's part of the verbiage in.
Yep.
Yeah, you'll need to approve that invoice. Or not invoice, but quote.
estimate.
I don't understand, Ron. Huh? You got custom energy coat and pants for approved spec. Then you got another pant for approved spec, 1,300. So you got two sets of pants? There's
When does it turn out, Rob?
yeah, one is a turnout set. And then the other one is Innotex pant for extrication. Oh, okay.
See, one is a set for 3,200, the other one's just a single piece for 13.
Yeah, I understand.
Someone wanna make a motion to approve that?
I'll make a motion to approve the request for $44,705 for
I'll second.
Allied fire sales.
Okay, second by Amber, any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye, opposed, that's carried.
Rob, I have a question about the report. Talk about getting the boat back into specs, you know, so that it's operating how it was designed.
Yeah.
But, when it had the issue, are any of the electronics still not back in service yet, and what's the plan to get those back in
Yeah,
service?
so the only thing right now that's reared its head that's not working is the lights and the sirens. The emergency light bar and all that, all the electronics for that were underneath the dash. The dash was on the fire. So it's shorted all that. But as of right now, everything we had to do was starter on the outboard. That was getting us fit, so Ted said just do a starter, be done with it. Ted says we need to go out and use that boat, so stuff if it's gonna rear its head, it's gonna rear its head, you know, while you're using it, not why it's sitting there with no use, so. The lights and sirens, I had to shift to a different manufacturer because the one that I went with originally said it would be probably October before they could get to them. So I went to Allied, who's actually the rep for the one that's on the boat right now. I tried to stay with Grand Traverse because they do all of our lights and sirens and radios. And then they'll be installed in 2 weeks.
Will that be an insurance claim then, or?
Yeah. Yeah, that'll all be part of the insurance. And Ted is working on putting an invoice together for what he has right now.
Okay,
But yeah, working through all the kinks of that. Would you like to announce your firefighter did in her instruction class? Her EMT class? Who's that? Caitlin. Caitlin had 100% pass rate. Yeah, Caitlin is a state instructor, put on the EMT class. She had 100% graduation certification.
Oh, really?
Rate, yeah. Which is yeah, which is really amazing. You know, normally get.
I wouldn't think about it.
So yeah, hats off to Caitlin. She
Sure.
did a great job there.
Congrats.
She's the one that's gonna put on her EMR class this fall.
Okay,
So that's all I got.
very good.
I knew you wouldn't forget.
Yeah, he did. Bob did. He did. Okay, thanks, Bob. Okay, assessor. We have board review next Tuesday at
3:30.
thank you, David, at 3:30, and that is to not hear appeals, but for clerical errors and whatnot, so. Other than that, all the, lake properties that were up for review this year have been visited. You may have seen someone at your house, that was done, and, moving on to new construction, so if you see somebody out on the neighbors, if they're building something, it might be the assessor checking the new construction, so. What else? Rate of inflation multipliers probably getting close to 5 again next year. That's it for the report. Roads, we have anything to report about?
Yes,
Okay,
real like there's somebody finished.
done.
Yeah.
Other than that, same old thing, different day.
Oh, I did get asked the other day and I gotta call somebody. So if you live on Bayview, Midway, they put stakes up around there. They went out because of the work they're gonna do. Somebody called me the other day and said they had staked their driveway in 5 feet and it was new asphalt. She told them, they told her they were gonna cut it and fix it when they do the road, but they told them they didn't want to do that. They wanted to leave the new asphalt. I know, so that's fine. I guess you could do that. I gotta call the lady back and tell her though, she's under they're gonna put a cap on it. So then the road's gonna be higher than her driveway. There'll be a lip.
No,
No, I understand that, but. So I don't know if people know that, huh?
They did, they took out sections of paved or asphalted
Right,
driveways.
well, that's because they're gonna raise the whole road. They wanna make sure it blends in. I gotta call this one back and tell her that they're gonna have a big bump into your driveway if you don't. No, the county said, okay, they wouldn't cut it. Yeah, I'm trying to avoid a problem next winter when somebody plows it. Just tell them. What else, Bob? Other roads? 11 Mile, did they get the bid done yet?
I haven't heard anything about you two working on that.
All we did was meet with the road commission manager and he said he was.
You don't remember Bob than I do then.
That's all I know. Okay. That's it? Harbor Commission.
No,
Oh, what else you got?
So last month we talked passing about, the Sunset House, the public access where Lake Island meets Lakeside Avenue. And somehow that got
Forgot all.
morphed into, the township's gonna repave Lakeside Avenue. Oh, no, township isn't gonna repave Lakeside Avenue. What we talked about is this gets really, really congested in the summertime. And there's a bunch of soft sand on the south side of this road and the no parking signs that are up here aren't being adhered to. So there's times when you can't hardly even get one car through there, much less a fire and rescue. So I had asked if the road commission, or if we could approach the road commission and look to see if there can be anything done in this area. I don't know what the width of this road right of way is. And maybe that's so narrow that this parking area where people parking is actually in private property and off the road right of way. But it certainly would be nice if it wasn't, if they could at least add some gravel there so the cars don't get stuck, because I've seen many cars get stuck there. And then where this road kind of does this little jog right here, this tends to get full of sand and people tend to park their bikes there and it just is a mess. And this actually is paved a little bit in each direction, but it's starting to fall apart. So I had asked if we could inquire if they could kind of spruce that up a little bit and make it so that it's clear where the road is and where you shouldn't be parking bikes, and then possibly put no parking signs or more of them along here so that you can actually get vehicles through there. But I don't know, Bob, did you have that conversation with them? Or?
Well, let's see, 4 years in a row now we've had that
Yeah,
conversation.
and they just are not willing to do anything, or?
What do you want to do? We graded it and cut back the shoulders as much as we can.
Okay.
We hauled sand out of there. We can't put gravel on sand unless we go down and start building a road, and we don't want to build a road.
I talked, right, we'll see what happens.
Okay.
They're supposed to do something other.
But this is not getting paved. It's just fixing the problem.
No, and that's where that came from, because we talked about that little bit of pavement there and someone misinterpreted that to mean we're paving the road. Cause I got asked at the summer reason, give my report that we're paving the road. What? We've never even talked about it, so. We're just trying to fix that intersection. I don't know if anyone's gotten stuck lately or. Every year, well, I stay away from those. No, just don't go there. Too many people. Parks and Rec.
You got me. Harbor.
Oh, I did forget you, Jim. I'm sorry, Jim. Harbor Commission.
There's no change in the DNR rate, nothing yet.
Okay,
And talked to the Corps and we're still on for next year. And it won't be before June 1st.
okay. I don't know how shallow is it, the DNR rent?
I've been out there, but I haven't really looked. I don't think it's any problem.
Okay,
We got some pretty good sized boats going on over there.
do they? Okay. Okay, is that it?
That's it, we didn't have a meeting on the fourth.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You know, are they gonna do anything with kind of replenishing those rocks that have settled, or is that not?
They won't.
Gotcha.
I finally talked to someone who says that they are,
Throw in the towel, all right.
Not interested,
um,
okay. Okay, Parks and Rec, Beth?
so that leads to, Doug and Michelle discovered that one of the properties adjacent to, the DNR launch across the street on the way over to North Point is now listed on their surplus properties, sale list. I think it's only one of the two that are there, but it's in between those two. And, we were gonna bring that up in our meeting next month. But Doug felt like, it may be too late and he wanted me to bring it to the board to see.
When is the auction? When is the?
Yeah, do we want to pursue, getting that needed to us?
So I think that's one that's halfway underwater. Right across the road from it. Then there's somebody buy one a couple years ago and build a house on it.
No, it's not
They put
that.
one 4-foot fill in it.
They wouldn't do that.
Are you pulling up the map in?
Yeah.
Trying to.
I think they did. I think you put a lot of fill in and sort of mounted purpose. I think that's probably a lot right next to it, but the old DNR owned a couple lots in there. But really,
No, you're right.
right there.
So which lot are you talking about?
Right across
Across the street. Pull the map a little bit, so across the street, right there, between there
in that
and,
area.
the road. Now, there's actually a couple of lots there owned by them. I don't know which in this sale, but, the question that we had was, should we ask them to take it off and deed it to us? So,
They won't need it, that's we have to buy. I mean, whatever, that's what we did last time.
do we want to begin
Yeah,
having
yes,
that
we do.
discussion, whatever it may be, as opposed to just letting it go?
I would think yes, the answer would be yes, if someone would do, could you do that? Just
So
contact them, find out.
somebody will get with Doug and.
Is that okay with everybody?
Yeah, I was on there just poking around and it's a really small lot, so I don't think it's gonna go for much and.
Okay. Rather than somebody buying it, yeah, that's.
So we'll move forward. Okay, the other things, on the list, and Dave, I know you're aware of this one, every month we talk about the Glen Park Loop and, do we want to go forward looking for, funding to put a bridge in, or should we try to get that easement by the property owners? And I'm not sure whether you've had any luck, getting them. So they've come back and said they're not doing anything.
I can't even, like, talk to the same guy person 3 times. There's some reason they don't want to, I don't know what the reason is. Can't even speculate why, but.
So you haven't talked to the owner though. Okay, the next item is just, it was in the packet, we needing some storage, some of the event items, and then we'll be needing winter storage for the volleyball nets and the, ADA rigid walkway. I'm gonna get an estimate of how much space we need for that ADA walkway, how many you can stack and so on and so forth. So I'll have that by, next meeting. All of the board members, with the exception of Ed, were at Langland Park to meet with DNR to talk about our water control issues. Ed and I have talked about it. Bottom line is they want a permit request no matter what it is that we do. In the meantime, though, They didn't object to us taking sand that has blown onto the parking lot and moving it down below the concrete whenever we have a rain event, blow it out. And they have no objections to us cleaning off, either of the walkways and including the one on the south side. So we're going forward with that. Anthony's comes up once a week. They're gonna go buy a power grid to make it a little bit easier and less dangerous to the equipment. So I think with respect to the whole rain issue, probably at a minimum, we should go forward looking for a permit for a maintenance request so that we can come in and with power equipment, not hand tools, which is our current limitation, to do something around both sides of the walkways and around the structures. Otherwise, the structures, the walls of the gazebo are gonna come in. Likely they'll, I don't wanna predict that, but I think it's the motions we have to go through. And it may be that we need to spend some money on, an engineering study to go along with it, because that's what they want, we do that. So if the board is in agreement, we'll begin the process of trying to get a permit to do that. Or any discussion, you were all there, and Ed and I had an extensive discussion, so if you guys want to talk about it, I'm just here as a facilitator.
I'm too bitter, so I'm not saying anything.
I would agree with you that we at least need to look at maintenance. I'm wondering if because they were here and because of the questions we were asking them, and obviously they were seeing our reaction to a lot of their answers, if that could help us get a maintenance agreement. I don't know.
I
I
felt like
think it's worth a shot. I don't think it's a waste of time.
the supervisor and the new guy that's got responsibility for our area came in, were pretty reasonable. It was the dunes expert who was nothing but the by the book guy.
Right.
So, we'll go forward. Jake sent me all of the information. So unless there's further discussion, we'll go down that road.
We might have old engineering from when we went to court against them. I don't know if it would hold up anymore, probably not.
So, and I did get a very thorough briefing from Vic, but just so I'm clear. If we apply for a maintenance permit for both the north walkway and the south gazebos and walkway to be able to remove sand that's threatening the structures that were grant funded by the state with power equipment, and we do it professionally, and we have engineering firm help out, and we submit that. Is that the intent? So I guess the follow-up to that would be if, for whatever reason, the response comes back no. The response comes back and says, well, you can do it by hand, or something that just isn't feasible. I think that initial back and forth needs to happen again. At that point, if they say no, then I think we get our legislators involved, because for one branch of the state to say you can't maintain something that was already funded by the state is utterly ridiculous. But I think you have to go through those steps to get to that point. So I would support that, and I mean, we're gonna get a hold of Spicer and have them do it, or take care of that.
Well, I'll look at all the documents that Jake sent me and try to figure out what staff is going forward.
I just think it needs to be very well done and documented, and even if we have to spend a little bit of money, because otherwise, at some point, you're just gonna have to abandon the two little structures on the south side. Can't keep the sand out, they're just gonna collapse those walls.
Okay, just items of note, the event season's going pretty well. The new picnic tables have been really helpful for the events at Glen and North Point. There's a 30-day challenge out there, encouraging each of the board members to enroll that 30-day challenge. Take a look at it. It's go to the Parks and Rec website, click sign up, and choose the 30-day challenge. Bob, you only have to go about 10 miles and run it. You can do it.
I have a brand new car.
Okay, wetlands, project with Grand Traverse Regional Land Conservancy, we're going to their office on the 17th to talk about what, their views of that property are, and they've asked us if, we can get some information regarding the consumers right away, and Ed has agreed that he's gonna talk to the appropriate people to have that. They also asked, for status of the trails project, so we'll bring that along. That gets me to the Trails project. I think you guys know that, Rick Almadine's really been doing a great job coordinating this. Gordy Frazier's working on the feasibility study ups and doing the follow-ups. They met with the road commission last night. Massey Library is all in. They wanted to develop some things along the walkway. The MDOT meeting is set up for this coming Monday. They want to decide whether it makes sense to partner their paving project with our trails project, which might mean a delay in the paving project, but that meeting will be on Monday. And they're also going to be bringing feedback on the proposed TAP grant application. So everybody's involved, and so far we're getting a lot of positive. The other thing on Langland Park, before the holiday, Anthony's was out there, repaired the washout within a couple hours of the DNR meeting. The dumpster, as was predicted by Alan Bob, is very full with a lot of residential trash. We picked up on Wednesday and Friday and Monday. It was full on the first and second, and it was overflowing on Monday. So as we decided last year, it's a shame that people that can afford a vacation out there or live out there will use it for their trash. But let's take care of the 95% of the people who don't. So we're just spending the money to get the trash out of there. And then also right now at North Point, we're getting some estimates, are getting the water tested for potability. Maybe we would do a dog watering station or something like that.
Wow, that's it. Thank you.
So Vic, I did have a preliminary conversation with Eric Gustin. And I just need to send him an email with some more details, and then he said what that will do is kind of get it on their radar, so if they're doing long range plans. Or, you know, they'll know that that's there, and then it'll also get us kind of a foot in the door to be able to contact them when we get closer with our.
So and you're gonna come to the GTRC meeting?
I'm trying real hard to, yeah.
Okay, and you can bring that information along at
Thank you. Mr. Wallace, Planning Commission.
Planning Commission is going to be meeting on Thursday, the 18th. There's a public hearing at that meeting for a request for a special use permit for a communications tower to be located on Joseph Road. I don't know the exact address off the top of my head, but the property owner has signed the necessary forms to allow the construction on their property.
It's east of Urban Road, but south side of Joseph or north side?
Ross, I think is the name.
Yeah, the south side of, it's behind the cemetery. Must be.
And I would say it's mildly disappointing that news of a public hearing goes out on the airwaves and immediately goes out onto social media, and people guess at the answers to the questions. And rather, when all it would take would be a call to myself, call into the township, and you could get the facts of what's being proposed and what's already been done, so you wouldn't have to waste time arguing on social media about.
What was that? I don't even know what was that.
Well, it's gonna be terrible because the lights are gonna be blinking on us all the time. Well, if you look on there, the FAA's approved it, and there are no lights required on this tower.
Okay.
So that's a non-issue. And, you don't have to spend a week posting back and forth how terrible this is gonna be.
Okay.
Also, related to planning, the ZBA has a hearing on the 25th. I haven't received the packet yet. It has been published for a variance on the accessory building requirements.
Okay. That's it? That's it? Thank you very much. More review? I don't know, we already talked about assessor, we'll just have the meeting next week. Or now? Got anything to add? Nothing as the chair, okay. Recycle, We kind of already hit on that. We just have to work on the agreement, figure out to move those things. I don't think it'll ever be done before the fair though. Unless we just move the containers over. Which I guess could happen. Want me to do that or ask someone to do that? Let her do
We're paying this coordinator to take care of this.
Yes.
it? Okay,
You get a hold of them, say, you will make.
move
David,
At this point, it's not our fault.
them. That's true. It's their fairgrounds and it's their,
if the containers get moved, I suggest putting them on gravel as well, because where they are right now at the fairground is kind of a big mud puddle.
okay. That's fine. That's what we planned on doing, so. And the gravel was more like the limestone stuff, not gravel, the stone stuff. It's actually doesn't get muddy. Would be probably better, so. Okay. PLA, is anybody doing a PLA report now? No, right? We don't receive anything, Amber, from anybody in the PLA, do we?
Nope.
Okay, invasive species? Was there anything?
Nothing.
Oh, the only thing I can tell you is I know we're having a meeting Monday.
Oh, okay,
Sorry.
okay, okay. Thank you. Bernat, what time is that meeting?
4:30, I want to say. And it's being done virtually because.
Okay. About public comment again.
I have a comment.
Okay, Libby, hold on, go ahead.
First of all, if you move the recycling containers from the fairgrounds, please put it on the website. Second of all, I will reiterate the subcommittee for the cost recovery, fire recovery ordinance or whatever. I would like statistics, not just a new ordinance. We should have the statistics and the information regarding what this would cost, what we would have gotten before we pass or pay an attorney to write up an ordinance. I want, as a member of the public, I would like to see the financial, especially since we already had an ordinance. I'd like to see how much that generated, and you should have that available.
Thank you. Anything else? Libby, anything else?
No, that's.
Okay. Thank you. I'm just making sure. Carmen?
Can I comment? The first is gonna be on the website, and I'm gonna make one other comment on the address ordinance. Just quickly on the website, I'm giving the clerk a copy. You guys need a .gov domain name, period. The biggest two reasons are regulatory compliance. Government organizations are often subject to various legal and regulatory requirements such as accessibility standards, data privacy regulations, and transparency mandates. Switching to a .gov domain demonstrates a commitment to compliance with these regulations, which is crucial to a governmental agency. Number two, access to government resources. Many government organizations have access to specific resources, support, and services designed for .gov websites, which can enhance the functionality and security of their online presence. In the case of the New Hampshire Department of Information, it's .gov domain, additional protection for distributed denial services. Attacks are provided to the domain owner at no charge by our domain name service arrangement. Here's a copy for the clerk.
Thank you.
Two, address ordinance. This is a letter addressed to then Governor James J. Blanchard. Dated July 5th, 1985. Attention, special counsel and legal advisor to the governor regarding the County of Manistee address ordinance. Dear Governor Blanchard. I won't go too far into this, but the gist of it is, I'm again have a copy for the clerk. That I requested and made an official part of the record here and included in the packet for the next meeting. We've examined the ordinance in light of 1851. Public Act 157 of 1851. Michigan compiled code against lead at all and other applicable law recommends approval. The Manistee County Board of Commissioners may wish to considering the following comments with regards to the proposed ordinance. Here's the gist. While the proposed ordinance does express the intent and finding that a countywide address system would not contravene the general law or interfere with the local affairs of a township, city, or village within the county, this prohibition appearing at the 1851 statute again, the application of the ordinance in such a way as to not contravene the general law or interfere with the local affairs of a city, village, or township in the county would depend upon which local governmental unit would have jurisdiction over a particular street, road, or highway. The right of all counties, townships, cities, and villages to reasonable control of their highways, streets, alleys, and other public places are reserved to such local units of government. 1963 Constitution, Article 7, Section 29. See also, and again, it gives it all the motor vehicle code. Specifically regulating the placing of traffic control devices, including signs requiring the permission of the respective governmental authority having jurisdiction over the particular road. And it's at section, same one, proposed public utilities. It's signed by, on behalf of then Attorney General Frank Kelly. On July 9th, these are the last, I'm reading them from the last 3 pages of a 9-page document that I'm going to hand the clerk. It's a letter from the governor to the Honorable Dor Johnson of the Manistee County Clerk at the courthouse. July 9th, 1985, Manistee County Address Ordinance. Dear Mr. Johnson, notice is hereby given my approval for the above mentioned ordinance as adopted by the Manistee County Board of Commissioners on March 12, 1985. Your attention is directed to comments from the Attorney General. Pursuant to statute, this ordinance is being forwarded to the Secretary of State for filing. Sincerely, signed by the governor. Thanks.
Okay. Go ahead.
Hi, Tammy Messner at 3219 Midway Drive. I attended last month's meeting and I listened to the comments that were made regarding the road ends. And I was just curious to know, I know that, and you mentioned that Dave and Ed had met with the road commission. I'm just curious to know if you did talk to them about the 180 feet of Midway Drive.
They have not.
No one did that. You're talking about right in front of their.
In front of our house.
Okay,
Okay,
sure.
I wanted to know who manages or oversees these public road ends. If I have questions, I don't want to have to wait till the next board meeting.
The road end ordinance would be the township.
Okay, who would I see?
Well, no. What she wants, and you forget about the county on some of these.
I'm
She-
talking
she says
specifically for number
township.
27 Midway 60 foot.
Then you're down to us.
Hitting down to us.
Okay,
And Tammy, I think the intent, like we talked about last meeting, is to maybe put together a subcommittee and sit down with you and with the property owner and kind of look at the whole situation and figure out what needs to happen there. So
Well,
that's the intent.
right, and I have an issue again about section 6 in the ordinances because it mentions public parking, nothing after dark. But that road end runs past our driveway as well as Holman's. And I'm mainly speaking for our residents, so I have a question about that.
Yeah.
How does that work? You know, if that's Midway Drive, that's not an issue. Excuse me. But it will be for Holman's and I can't speak for them. So, and again, if there's gonna be some signs put up, where are they gonna go? So I guess they can't put them up until they know specifically where that road end starts to be able to put those up. My other comment is that we, the Messners, would like to put some form of barrier that indicates our property line. In the meantime, I don't want to do anything that hinders the Holmans and their access in and out. I know they're deeded that piece of property, and I'm afraid if that easement is theirs, what they can do in regards to where our driveway entrance is. If it's considered the easement. You know, it can be tit for tat. If we do something with our property and it ends up being hindering their approach in and out of their driveway, they could come to us and say, guess what? Your driveway is in our easement. So anyway, there's a lot of
issues.
there's a lot of issues, and so that's why I keep coming back. I don't want this to be forgotten.
So we probably have to put together another something and talk through that, because I know we're gonna have to get an encroachment, well, not necessarily, but probably some kind of memorialization or documentation of the fact that there's a structure even though they may own the property, it's deeded right to the public access, just to address that, to memorialize it. And that's what the attorney suggested, but we've got all these issues that we wanna talk about, and I think we just need to talk through them all and figure out so we can address them. We just have to get the time together where we can do that.
Okay,
So I think personally, a meeting, maybe after walking through and looking at that, maybe since you're here right now, or I'm not sure the Holmans are necessarily.
no, I don't think they're there. I don't see them.
We could maybe have a little meeting on site and walk through so we can see specifically what your
I would-
concerns
I
are.
would
And
love
then,
that.
then we can kind of go from there, maybe Dave.
That's
That
fine
would
with
make
me.
sense, but we probably ought to appoint, a couple of board members to do that, potentially. Just so it's.
I mean, you wanna do it, it's
I'm
fine.
okay
with
with
me.
it, yeah.
How about, I can do it after 5 or 6 o'clock every night,
Perfect.
so.
Tomorrow morning, I don't care. I can be up at 6 and be there. I don't care. Doesn't matter.
It's
I-
fine for me,
Well,
but
what's the best, I'll get it from you after the meeting, your
Okay.
best contact information.
Yeah, thank you.
let's put a number out, we'll put it right on the
Yeah,
website.
please.
That'd be fine. Okay.
Thank you
Who
very
else?
much.
Dave? Yes, go ahead.
I was here at the last meeting and there was a big discussion about the structuring who does what on the web. And I thought it was a good, healthy discussion, and I thought maybe there'd be some resolution today. And I read the minutes that you have in your special, and I still don't understand what it is you're trying to accomplish. What's wrong with the web from your point of view that you're trying to find somebody to manage? What is going on?
You want to answer that? Go ahead.
So there's just a lot of things that need put on the website. So when it first was brought up, there was stuff that needed to be put on there, obviously, but we kind of combined it when I talked to everybody about staffing. So originally on the agenda, there was website access and there was FOIA coordinator, and kind of combining. When I first brought them up, it was, hey, let's bring somebody in that can kind of help out with all sorts of stuff in here on the website.
What is it
No.
you're trying to?
I think his question is, what's wrong with the website, Dan?
Yeah, I.
Without saying it that.
Oh, I get you, okay.
That's
what I'm trying to
Dan,
fix, what I was
The answer
asking.
to your question is opinions vary. Because there are, any website, there's things that need to be tweaked, fixed, adjusted.
Of course, but what are you guys trying to fix? I mean, I can sit here and say, I looked at the website and there's a lot of old data. A
Mhm.
lot of old data on there. And when I go to look to find something, I don't find the current stuff, I find the old data. And so if that's what you're trying to fix, or go ahead, get somebody.
That's a lot, but that is a lot.
Well, it is, but then you'll have others that say, oh, you should keep that old data on there because I want to be able to go look at it at my convenience whenever it's there. So you can't satisfy everybody,
No,
but that's the idea. We're trying to clean it up so it's efficient, effective.
Okay, I would
Conveys
do
the
this
information that we
advice
want.
Do what's timely and forget about the history. Tell me, you can come down here and talk to you about the history.
Well,
But, so most of us, well, I'm serious, you can.
Well,
should be able to.
but for example, things like minutes. Once
Right.
they're on there, there's no reason to take those
Right.
down because it's there and then people don't have to come down here and bother the clerk or whoever. So some of that stuff is there. I would agree, like some of the planning and zoning stuff. After you've had a public hearing on XYZ, that stuff probably should go down, but we have to talk through that and figure out what that looks like. So I agree. I mean, I think, and part of this is, remember, this website was combined with the PLA. It was difficult to get to. There was a ton of information
Yeah.
that never got taken down or very rarely. It's hard to
Right.
manage.
Right.
So when we brought it in-house, a lot of that stuff just came over. And it's been slowly getting fixed and corrected. There's just some, it may not be happening at the pace that some wanted. It may not be happening in the method that some
So
wanted.
my
But I think we're working
question
through
to you again is who is, because as I listen to you all talk, you get, that's a frustration that you all have. So I would again say, who is making sure that you're taking a look at all that stuff that came over and looked on all the different choices that I have to look at, and is paying attention to what's there and what's not there. That's, I
Libby.
think, what huh?
What, excuse me?
Mrs. Schleifert just said that she's the one that's doing it. She's provided a lot of information on stuff that she thinks ought to be changed on it. I've gone through bit by bit and been fixing things, but it doesn't happen all at once, and that's why we're gonna have Cindy's take a look at some of it. We're probably gonna get the deputy clerk trained so that we can.
Is that where the
Clean it. No, just for, well, she's
No, I think
volunteer.
I'm a Band-Aid. No, I
Yeah, no,
mean,
no, I understand. That's what I heard you say tonight, that Cindy's gonna look into it.
Well,
Again, that's-
not just Cindy. I'll give you an example. There was a lot of information on the invasive species page that wasn't organized very well.
Correct, terrible.
I cleaned that up to a large extent. There's still some stuff that needs to be done. So it's kind of a page by page thing to kind of go through. And like I said, once you get it to a point where it's, the information is good, there's historical information that you want to keep there. It's organized properly. Maybe it needs a page where you can have a bunch of stuff rather than a bunch of buttons or whatever. Then it's a lot easier to maintain. So I think it's a work in process, and as any website will always be a work in
And we've
process.
had,
Let me give you an example. Dave Paul's brought something up tonight, and I'm just using it as an example.
Mhm.
Is that there's gonna be a public hearing at the planning commission meeting. What's the special use permit? If I were wanting to keep the community, engaged, I would say there's a special use permit request. We're gonna be public hearing on it because this is for a cell tower, which is special use permit for ordinance number so and so in the township. That's why.
It's on the website. It's on the calendar. There's also now
See,
the meeting
it's on-
packet.
that's what I'm saying,
this
so-
morning. It's
I don't know
on.
if you asked in the past, Shelley, were you the only one that posted for a while on the web? I don't know who posted.
Amber and I both did, but the
Amber and both
website
posted.
posts alpha, numeric alpha.
Thank you. So now Amber is posting, right? And her deputy will be, but hasn't yet. And Ed posts stuff on there. Cindy's just gonna help out. I mean, it's probably gonna be a group effort.
Again, I think you're doing a good job. I'm being critical. It's just that I sat there for 2 meetings listening to you struggle, but
We are.
make sure we're doing our stuff.
And Dan, here's the problem. You can have two different people look at the website. And one person wants A, B, and C, and somebody else thinks it should be D, E, and F, and they're totally opposite each other. So at some point, you've got to make a call. This is how we're doing it, and.
No, I agree with that, which is why I think you need somebody to be on top of what's going on, because you can't solve everybody's problem, but somebody who's in charge of a.
Well, I can tell you, to me, the clerk is in charge right now, would be in charge kind of the website. No, am I
No.
wrong?
I would say Ed more has the access. He's pretty.
Well, I'm talking about statutory things that.
Dan, let's just be clear here.
I wish you could be.
Yeah.
So the clerk has things that the clerk is absolutely
Has to
responsible.
do. The clerk has to.
They're gonna maintain that part of the website. There's things that we've empowered Dick from the parks to make sure that the park site is just how the Parks Committee wants it. It's working great.
Good.
So we have to continue. I think we need to do a little bit more work with Dave, figure out what we want that to look like, how long we want to keep stuff on there. But it's evolving. It just takes a little bit of.
Who's asking those important questions?
Well, clearly I asked the question of Vic and we spent,
Okay.
3
So
hours.
you're in charge.
You know what? I know how to run the website. I am not the webmaster. I am not the person that makes all the decisions about, this isn't a, autocracy. It's it's collaborative. So if there's an issue with the website and it's brought to our attention, we collectively get it fixed. It
There is
just may
one
not
thing, there
happen
is
in the
one thing
pace
you
that
can't
people
do though,
want.
so you can't put everything that everybody wants on the front page, okay? It's physically, you can't do it,
Well, that's not a good website.
but that's what.
Well, you could.
I just, see,
So let me tell you what
go
I
ahead.
would make on the front page, to Dave's point, the package of information from the, planning. The county planner, it is on the website and there's a lot of information there. One might say it would have been nice because, cell phone coverage in the township is an issue. It's very spotty. On the other side, maybe we don't want a big, ugly tower, there's trade-offs. So that's the kind of issue that I think would serve the community to put on the page so people are aware of it.
Is it
and can
on,
find
is it on them
it's there,
right now?
but
But it's not on the front page.
it's not.
It is on the front page.
It's not,
No.
It's
well,
not.
wasn't.
not on the front page. It's under planning commission. So
Okay,
if you
so
go,
I see what you're saying now.
Yeah.
One of the topics are,
Oh, no, I agree with that. So, okay, we'll try to fix it as.
And if you think the planning commission is gonna solve cell phone coverage, Onekama Township, you're just.
This tower's gonna do it.
Hello,
Let them do it.
Okay, so.
I-
Stop, okay.
You heard it here first, folks.
I would like to speak. Dave,
Go ahead. Hello? Yeah, go
Hello?
ahead.
I
Yeah.
would point out that there was a notice in the newspaper about the public hearing that the planning commission zoning administrator placed, saying that the packet was available at the township hall. It wasn't available until 1:15 this afternoon. We've got to figure out, you can't be publishing that information is available at the township hall and the website unless it's available. And it was incorrect on who to contact as who was the clerk. Again, this is something that should have been dealt with in the contract.
the zoning administrator put Shelley Johnson on the newspaper.
Okay,
But
I did write them and tell them, hey,
Katie,
you gotta put.
we had this
Anderson.
before. Katie always says that they get stuff in at the last minute from the contractors. So they can't get the packet to the clerk until like today, the last minute. So that's why that happens. And she and Mike both said they can't change it, but they will try and work on it. It's been, Libby and I have talked about it.
it's the same reoccurring thing.
Yes, it's the same reoccurring issue.
Well, why would they not just change your name to Anna, but I?
No, not that.
And
Oh,
Libby and I brought it to Katie's and Mike's attention the last time they did it,
Okay,
and obviously it didn't help.
And I would also say that I talked to Katie and we are contracting with them. We are the customer. We can determine as a township when that is posted and when we get the information. And I tried to stress that in September, that we put that in the contract, and it was not. So again, it is not easy to get information if you are a township member because it's incorrect or it's not posted. So I would encourage the township board, since we are paying for that contract, to work with the planning department and the zoning administrator and get this solved. It is not fair to the township people that they do not have the information before it's published in the, that it tells me in the paper I can go to the township and I can't. You all look stupid. End of subject.
All right.
I just have a question about something that you said before, Dave, about coming out to all the lake properties. What are you checking on?
so the assessors, 20% a year, you have to recheck properties in every unit. That's part of the state. It's not a dyed in wool thing. It's a recommendation. So every year you go out, you pick a different area of the township. So every 5 years you revisit parcels. You check measurements, you check to see, you just check their card, you check their property.
Okay. So it said all the lake properties.
We did all the lake properties, not Lake Michigan, we did Portage Lake properties this year.
Does that mean properties right on the shoreline?
Yes,
Correct.
Or
And some-
lakes?
I talked with the assessor.
And some across the street.
Yes.
Okay. that's-
Depending on where they were on the lake, if they own split frontages. So that was that last year was the village,
Okay,
the total village. Next year's probably gonna be Lake Michigan and sectional acreage. I would guess.
The rationale given by the assessor for why he was doing the lake properties this year, just as public interest, is that because the most activity in terms of sale has occurred on Portage Lake. And so that's where the action has been. That's what he said.
And more sales, but what we like to do the village last year, it's not entirely the thing because there's sales all over, but we eventually get over everything.
You gotta visit 100% over 5 years.
Yeah,
so you just do 20% a year.
we actually we're probably higher than 20%. We were higher last year than 20%.
Okay, and then one other quick question. What exactly are the restrictions on a road end? Like
Which
as
one?
far as, well, let's just say community dock will outlet it.
So
Or-
Outlet Avenue and Arcadian are different because they have what's called a non-exclusive public dock. So those are docks that are put out on a township controlled road end that are open and available to the public.
Correct. Yeah.
So the public can go out there and.
No overnight mooring, no
You
boat,
can't moor a boat, you can't store stuff on the road end, you can't do any of it.
and anyone from the public can use the dock.
Mhm.
So. Those are the only two that, unless somebody came and, like we said, they came and asked the township to put one out now.
Except we changed the ordinance to say that there will be no more privately owned.
No more
docks.
practically, but they could come and request the township to put it out on another road end for the public to use.
Mhm. So mooring a boat is different than having a shore station?
They're both prohibited.
On a road end, you can moor a boat, you can get them.
Yeah, if you've got riparian property, you can get a permit to get, you can't do it on a public road.
Okay. Interesting.
Dan, where did you ask?
Well, I was, on that, two things on the road. I mean, the term incidental activities was used in there, which. I mean,
Yeah, I
do we
know
know kind of what we mean, or is it, we'll know what it means when there's a problem?
Like setting off fireworks or anything?
Well, that would be, that's clearly,
That's not incidental.
but it's sort of, if you live next to those areas and a crowd appears and they're sunbathing, well, they're not really swimming. I mean, is that incidental or?
Guess you determine it at that
Will
time.
be.
yeah.
I think that's.
All for it. Anybody else for public comment or?
Can I ask, and maybe there's not enough time for an answer on this, but I'm curious how in the past, the distinction was made between the county road ends and the township road ends.
I can't even begin to answer. Why is the county?
Well, did it go through the courts in terms of vacation and then they didn't went into the township, or was it more?
I can't answer that.
We owned all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, but
So how did the township get them, you're asking?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
About when did that, nobody knows.
I don't know personally. It's for as long as I've been involved with the
I mean,
government here.
at some point, the township would have had to have accepted it, so it's gotta be minutes somewhere. Unless there's a statute that they didn't.
Well, those posts all went up about 20 years
When
ago.
we put the posts up, that goes back to first couple of years when I was supervisor, talked about, should we mark these? Because no one knew where they were.
Mhm.
And we got involved with marking them, mowing them, a lot of them, opening them up and then putting those posts on them to mark them so the public knew it was public access. But when was it done, to his question? I can't even, I don't have a clue.
David, didn't some of them have to do with platted county roads at some of those, and that's where the county road ends, or that's what the background of it.
And there's a lot of these road ends are in plats that the county doesn't even have on the thing, and we may have accepted those at some point.
And then the county ones by Porch Point going to the channel, remember there used to be boats on there in docks? I mean, you remember that?
On the channel?
No,
No,
on all the road ends on Porch Point Drive between Porch Point
Oh,
Inn
yes,
and the
yeah.
channel. Okay, they were all docks out. and There was 5 or 6 boats on each dock. Oh, you remember?
Yeah.
So what happened was when Mike bought, Mike bought the inn and they started complaining about him doing this, that, and the other. He called the Army Corps of Engineers and said, how can these people put boats and docks up on county road?
Yeah.
And they said, well, they can't.
So the usual tip for.
So they came in and said, these are many marinas, and you can't have them here. And that's it, then they disappeared.
So what happened in 9/10? The law is possession.
Well, no, it was still public road, they were still the counties, apparently the road commission's not able to pass an ordinance or have an ordinance or something, they wrote in ordinance, they just didn't have one.
I mean, the law on this is like, well, set. Shit, fine.
Yeah.
In terms of what you, I mean, by.
Yeah,
law,
you can't do anything.
You can't.
If now, it would have been the Higgins Lake thing and that's what happened, but back then, I don't know. I'm just telling you what happened, and then everyone got like super mad at Mike, because they lost all their private marinas. Each one of them 5 or 6 boats on it.
Well, you can't have what, more than 4? Is that what it is? Then it's considered a marina?
Oh, I don't even know what it.
I think that's what the Army Corps of Engineers told me.
Okay,
I'm pretty sure.
okay, well, then you would know more than me on that. And that might be a true statement, or, and that's why they had to go, but they were on public property, that would never happen today, so. Anyways, Dan, did that answer? I don't know that answer, I don't know what year. If you find out, let me know.
1850.
Are these just informational or?
Yes, no, it's information.
I just wasn't sure because.
They're for the tail damage. I just wanted to make sure you guys all had that.
Do we have any correspondence? No, okay, so yesterday I got, I don't know if I overstepped my bounds, if I did. So Tim Irvin called me and asked if they could use the hall for a community meeting.
July 31st, because I happened to get an email.
July 31st. So what I did was I came down and looked at the calendar last night and saw that there was nothing written down for that time frame. So I called him back and told him it was okay.
31st.
July 31st at 2:30.
It's a Wednesday.
I don't know, did you look in the planner or you looked on the
I
calendar? on the
looked
wall?
out here. No, I no access to your
Okay.
planner. Should we look?
I think you should have told them, hey, contact me.
Okay.
So I can look on the planner.
We look? Okay. Anyways, if it is, it's a community action plan to provide help for finding small businesses and stuff like that. They want to have people here to, we should put it on the website, I think it's a good idea.
And that's usually what I do when they contact, I'll ask them for what I can post, if they've got a fly or anything like that.
Well, I've got it right here, I'll do it forward.
I got an email about it, so it must have been after he talked to you.
I'll make a motion, we pay the bills.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Amber. Any discussion? None being heard, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Really, that's carried. You got anything else? Anybody? No, I'm gonna adjourn. That's probably a new record.
Yeah.